Alright, so today, playing some 4-color Death Shadow. What does 4-color bring to the table that other variations does not? You're mixing in the threat consistency of like Jund with Death Shadow, Tarmogoyf, Skirt of the Skyclaves, Luris, Traverse the Openwald, with the reactability of Grixis, with the Stubborn Denials, the Drown in the Locks, and you're coming up with kind of this this clashing of ideals and trying to take the best of both worlds, getting in the early threats plus the protection elements, the able to deal with the top of your opponent's deck, and kind of run through that way. Whereas Grixis is like protect the queen, get a threat, hope to save it. Thomas coming in with the 8-month resub. Thank you so much. Welcome back to the subscribers. Another Death Shadow deck. I know, Snooze Fest. You got me. So Grixis has got that protect the queen strategy, but it's a little bit tougher at getting a threat, getting it down, where Jund is going to have that kind of like throw your hand against the wall and see what sticks mentality. Like, all right, I've got these threats, hit them and hope something stays around and it's good enough to kill your opponent. So instead, we're just kind of mixing those together. We're going to throw stuff at them, hope it's good enough to kill them, with a little bit of like, no thank you. So, some interesting main deck considerations is Scourge of the Skyclaves as a 2-of. It's a card that you're not turning on proactively unless you already have another threat down, or if your opponent's dealing themselves damage. So it's not really one you want to see as a 3 or a 4, but 2 is nice, is not only a traverse target, but you can find one naturally as your like secondary threat. So it works out pretty good. Copy of Drown in the Lock. This is huge flex spot. Could be like Cling to Dust, Abrupt Decay, Assassin's Trophy, Lightning Bolt, Drown in the Lock, Seal of Fire, Renin 6. Tons of options. I personally like Drown in the Lock. It just gives that 4th Fatal Push, 5th Stubborn Denial kind of feel, where you got a lot of flexibility that goes with it. I think especially right now, it's really great with like the Mirror showing up all the time, Burn showing up all the time, decks like that. A little bit less exciting against like Tron, E-Tron, but you got to take the good and the bad. Sideboard, 2 copies of Collective Brutality for Burn. It's just all over the place right now. Plague Engineer as not only a pseudo sweeper, but a traverse target. 2 copies of Nihil Spellbomb, Dredge, the Mirror. 2 copies of Veil of Summer for the mid-range matchups. 2 Assassin's Trophy, great against Tron, great against stupid Big Bird, Stormwing Entity. 2 copies of Damaging Sphere for Tron, 1 K Command for the grinding matchups, 2 K Returns for Oriok Champions, and Cling to Dust, great against Burn, the Mirror, other like mid-range grindy decks, great against Dredge. Whole slew of options. Holy mess, when you said sideboard, the southern accent really came out. It's not really that bad of an accent. There's times it's a little hit or miss, but for the most part, it's fine. Alright, so this is what we're jumping into the first league with. What have I missed in the comments? I've always found it interesting that these versions of the deck aren't interested in Bolt. It's kind of like this version would like Bolt, but because we're running Stubborn Denial and don't have a lot of extra room for removal, we opt to go with Fatal Push because it can hit a wider range of targets. Listen, I'm from the South. It was pretty bad just then. Fair. Sorry. I'll try to keep it under control, but I make no guarantees. Alright, so we've got a PTQ coming up this weekend. Or is that Monday? That's Monday, right? Challenge Saturday, Challenge Sunday, Super Qualifier on Monday. I have to remember that. Are they Monday and Friday? Those will be good good content days then. So I do think it's really funny. I think this is the first time that I've ever had a hype train going. And even though it was only like 3 resubs, I thought that was really cool. So appreciate y'all for the support. Alright, what do we got for round 1? Hopefully something cool. Maybe even Dredge. Insomniac. It's not even Insomniac, it's like Insomnic. Insomnique. Pretty well-rounded hand. We'll roll with it. This is kind of the Jund aspect of the deck of we're just gonna like throw things at you and see what happens. Prairie Stream. Alright, so I would rather have blue than red right now, because against like a Prairie Stream deck, probably a Path to Exile deck, I think that having access to my counter spells is going to be more important than having access to my Battle Rage right away. Sidewell, hi Mike, happy to see 4-color get a spin again. I feel like we can probably afford to play 4-color more often, but it's kind of like a, what's a good way of saying it? It's a hit or miss a lot of the times, because like 4-color's really cool, but Jund will go on really big hot streaks, and like people want to see the hot deck, or like Grixis will be in an interesting position, so we play a little more Grixis. 4-color's like, I don't want to say the safety net, but it's kind of like this in-between power level variant. So it's usually not as streaky as Jund. It usually doesn't have like the top end that something like doesn't have the top end that a variant like Jund would have. Alright, so they've had 1 blind draw. If their 1 blind draw is a Supreme Verdict, we get pretty wrecked if we play out this Shadow. But if it's not a Supreme Verdict, then we can potentially be putting up lethal next turn. They've got this Valakut Awakening, so they could just ditch their hand for more stuff. Yeah, I think we are jamming. I think if I had a fetch land, I would hold back. But I'm kind of hoping my opponent just like flashes in Snapcaster to go for the chump here. Oh, Matt, I missed your Hydrate redemption earlier. Are you at the point where you're ready to admit Scourge is a good card? I've said that I think Scourge is better than I initially gave it credit for. Which is why we have like a Scourge of the Skyclaves emote. So how many cards did you toss away? Threw away 4. Threw away 4, drew 5 cards. So we can basically say we know nothing about their hand. Main phasing that, huh? Okay. I was gonna say, like, a fetch land here is probably lethal regardless. They could find one removal spell to take out one of our threats. So we saw Mana Leak. Jason Teferi bounce is an option. Usually don't like K-Command against like the exile-based removal. I can't tell if this is Wildfires or Lotus Field. I usually assume Wildfire is the default. Like, I think Lotus Field was kind of like the 1 week deck. But I think Wildfire has the more staying power. But it also could just be like straight Jeskai control. Like no Wildfire shenanigans at all. So these are kind of like the only cards I'm really interested in bringing in. Veil of Summer to a lesser extent. Board outs. Usually don't expect like Colonnade anymore. So for the most part, removals like a pretty free board out. I think I might go something like this. If I'm expecting Rest in Peace, I could shave a Traverse for another trophy. Maybe that's not the worst. Keeping TBR, potentially. Like, there's not really a lot more I really want to board in. I mean, I could go like that. That would be fine. Not particularly thrilling. I could keep in Dismembers for something like Mentor. Summer over TBR. Maybe, like, Summer is not great in a world where, like, Teferi, 3-mana Teferi, Path, Celestial Purge exist. His hand's really too reactive for my liking. I guess I gotta update Stream Decker. Do that real quick. Like, a lot of these sideboard choices are kind of narrow. Like, banking on one or two things, going one or two directions. Yeah, I'm keeping this. We're gonna bottom Luris. How likely do I think I am to see the second land? It's either Luris or second Wraith. Yeah, we did win game 1. Alright, deck list should be updated now. I think I'm just gonna bottom Luris. We'll take a shadow. Taking the shadow here because if we find our second land, like Tarmogoyf's great. If we don't find our second land, we can still play shadow. Well, I guess we're going to take their answer. Y'all got me missing playing leagues in Discord. Y'all trying to squad up tonight? I mean, Dogfish has been playing through a bunch of leagues. Sounds not great, but what about Stitcher Supplier over Street Wraith? And you get to play Lurrus in the side. Let's see, Supplier over Street Wraith. I don't think it's bad by any means. The downside is like you lose some of the explosiveness to complement Shadow if you go with Stitcher Supplier. Like I said, I don't think it's bad. Maybe we can give it a try one day. I'm always down to test out ideas. Yep. Let's get... I think I'm actually going to get basic forest here. So if I draw like a Traverse, maybe I want a Scourge plus Traverse or Tarmogoyf plus Traverse. The old Teferi time Rattler, right? Mm-hmm. Alright. Stubborn Denial is not going to do too much until I get Teferi off the board. Yeah, this is like an argument that Steven and I have been like going over recently, is how much of an advantage does having Lurrus as a companion give you over something like having access to Traverse. Alright. So I'm pretty much assuming this is like Snap Path here. Snap Opt. Okay. I guess they do have the second Snapcaster. This kind of game feels like if I can get Teferi off the board, I probably win. If I can't get Teferi off the board, I'm probably in trouble. Interesting. So let's swing both at Teferi. Things I didn't see coming. That one. I guess if I had hit my fourth land, I'd probably have been more likely to just, like, main phase, go for trophy on the Teferi. Here, I think we're just not going to mess around. Well, we knew they had a second Snapcaster in hand, so my thought was we attack both at Teferi. They tap out the snap path, block one guy, path the other guy, and then we get to second main phase, trophy the Teferi. So they're out Snapcaster, path is out of their yard, Teferi's off the board, but then they have Settle the Wreckage, and I was never going to play around Settle the Wreckage. Right, Settle's just the kind of card like, you got it, cool. So what do I think the rest of their hand is? Snap Opt. A little surprised they're casting this main phase. So I don't have any red cards in my deck, so I'm pretty fine ditching this. Don't think I'm beating a big Teferi. But that's why we got a game 3, right? This is kind of an example of why 3-mana Teferi is such a house against us. Like, it just sets you so far back on board. Give it like one more draw, because if we find never mind. I was gonna say if we found a threat here before they could minus Teferi on us again, we could be in okay shape. Alright, so Cling looks a little bit better. We didn't see Rest in Peace, but we saw Snapcaster. Our other board out. On the play, maybe the second Collective Brutality. Since we're just trying to be a little more proactive. Do we think there's a second land in the top 2? This is like a super high upside hand, super low downside. Thomas says keep. Alright. I wouldn't keep it if I didn't think it had a reasonable chance. Alright, so now we know about Settle in Hand. Do we find it? One land off the top. Right on time. They're gonna get to opt. I think I'm okay. What are they gonna hit on 2 that I care about? Like if they draw path, they can path around Stubborn Denial anyway. So let's just go for Spell Bomb here. Scry to the bottom. So one more land. One more land and we might feel like we have a chance here. Or that. That's pretty good as well. Would they scry with the second opt? Scry bottom as well. Mana leak. So like path into leak would be pretty annoying here. I'm pretty inclined to just go ahead and fire off this Spell Bomb. Like, if they've got a path, I can't pay for path and leak anyway. Pretty good series of draws. So let's go. How do I want to sequence this? I'm gonna bobble myself. If there's exactly Stubborn Denial on top, then I won't cast the Traverse. I'll just Thought Seize. If there's anything else, I'm probably traversing here. Scourge. Alright. So we see Scourge, so we're traversing. What am I getting off of Traverse? I could get another shadow. I could get a Wraith. Second Shadow's like safest option. So we know about Settle. Steven, how's it going? Jaeger, how's it going? Hope both of y'all are having a fantastic Thursday so far. I could get third land. I could get second Shadow. Or Street Wraith. We know about Valakut Awakening, Settle the Wreckage, Mana Leak. Thursday's over in about 2 hours for me. Oh, that's plenty of time. Plenty of time left in Thursday. Oh, what's my take here? So, if I take second Shadow, I can play it, have Thoughtseize next turn for Settle. So, like, I'm not losing to Settle. I'm not losing to Valakut Awakening. Second Shadow plays around single removal spell a lot better. I think it's just second Shadow. So that means this, I'm not losing to like any of these known cards. I'm setting myself up to have lethal after like a Verdict if they have it. Alright, so let's go. Either one of these shadows is lethal with the Fetch, Shock, and Thoughtseize. So we can Brutality to see if the coast is clear, which we know they have a Settle. And we can just take that and then Fetch, Shock, Thoughtseize afterwards. So yeah, there's Settle gone. Fetch, Shock, Thoughtseize. I guess they could... They could Valakut Awakening into exactly Lightning Bolt. So let's just attack. Now they have to use Snapcaster as a blocker. We're not dead to Bolt. And it shuts off like Polluted Delta. So they can't shock in this Hallowed Fountain. Can't cast anything off or after Mana, not Mana Leak, Valakut Awakening. Mana Leak's dead. Alright. Sidewell Redeemed Hydrate. Got you. So a nice little 1-0 start over Jeskai. Patsy. Luris has been revealed. This is basically why we're not playing 4 Scourges. So if our opponent doesn't lower their life total here, then this hand's pretty bad. But if they're nice and they fetch 1 time for us. Did mold a 5. That's both good and bad for us. Weird. So I'm thinking this Boros Prowess deck looks like the real deal. One of the only playable modern cards with protection from both red and white is Phyrexian Crusader. Do you think that card would be a reasonable sideboard option for modern decks that support it? Interesting. Let's think. Red-White Prowess is real. Phyrexian Crusader. That's the 1/2 black, 2/2 with Infect. I don't know. Possibly. So is this just like the rock? That's like the rock without Liliana of the Veils. Kind of like how Auriok Champion has become ubiquitous in the format. It could be... I don't know, like Bench has played Phyrexian Crusader before when Taxes was like tier 0. So maybe. I'm not opposed to the idea at all. They are helping Scourge. Can't agree with that. And they've got a bit of an awkward take here because it's like, alright, you either take the Lurrus and I just get the big beater down, which it feels like they don't have a removal spell. Or they take the Scourge, I get to play the Lurrus and they hope to draw. Oh, they do have the removal. Alright. How much do I value my life total here? Do I want to fetch Shock Thoughtseize? Or not fetch Shock, but Shock Thoughtseize? Probably. Yeah. Alright. Calm down. Calm down. So Traverse, not the best card in the deck right now. If we can find like a Bauble here, that would be extremely nice. Which deck do you want to play? Crusader, the Rock? Not sure, just thinking about how powerful protection creatures have been in Modern recently. I mean, kind of have to see how things shape up, right? Definitely getting beaten down by some Confidant value. Maelstrom Pulse. Are they gonna pulse our Goyf? Ugh, rough. You just like put that in our yard? Is that allowed? Nope. Alright, so they didn't see the red. Not that it really matters since we're boarding out a lot of it. Alright, so I'm boarding out things like a couple Street Wraith because of Scavenging Ooze, the Inquisitions because it's a hand disruption mirror and I don't want to be top decking these late game, then Battle Rages because I don't want to get 2 for 1, bring in grindy cards like K-Command, Veil of Summer for removal, Cling to Dust to not only stop like Luris on their side, but help mitigate some of the graveyard shenanigans, as well as just give me a couple extra card draws as the game goes on. I mean, you can play set if you think it could be a thing. They're not expensive, right? Yeah, they're pretty cheap. But I'm always a fan of just like picking up play sets of things that could be playable down the road. You never know, right? I mean, if you had asked Modern like 2 years ago, people would say, "Oh yeah, Auriok Champion's terrible. Nobody plays that card." So not having to worry about... Maybe I want Plague Engineer. Between Confidant and Hex Drinker, there's a lot of targets for it. Two years ago, Humans, Death Shadow still meta. Humans was playing like 1 or 2 in the board, and that was the only deck playing Auriok Champion. Goyf was spoiled is terrible. Goyf was spoiled is pretty terrible. Like, Goyf got so much better after Thoughtseize was printed, and the fetch lands were printed into Extended. Should have taken the draw here. I've been taking the draw more and more recently, and it's felt pretty good for the most part. Took the draw versus Jund today and liked it. Like, I usually take it in the mirror for sure. Gets a little bit dicier in like these Veil of Summer matchups, but still not bad. Confidant, Scoos, EE. Let's take Confidant. This whole painless mana base on their side's pretty good for them. What am I doing here? Wagner, how's it going? How's the league going? We're currently 1-0. Beat Jeskai Control round 1. But we're down a game to the Rock right now. So I could stub this. I don't think I want to. That's a pretty good draw. So I can trophy this. Traverse for a shadow and play it. Shadow my best option here. Probably. Would I rather get Luris? Shadow's like better if they have hand disruption here. Luris is better. I think I'm just getting Shadow. I think I need to... I think battlefield presence is going to be a little more important right here. Especially if they spend a turn putting Luris into the hand or anything. Alright. Yep. See, by the way, which Goyf artwork is my favorite? Future Sight. By a mile. It's like I really like the art on it, but I also like the border on it. I'm a huge fan of the Future Sight borders. Alright, so that's pretty good for us. Hex Drinker, sure. All right. So what's my plan here? I could dismember the Luris, attack with both, and they have to block with 1 or they're dead. But they only have to block with 1. If they block with Hex Drinker, I'm dead to Goyf plus Quagmire on the crackback. So I can't attack with both. This is 5, 6, 7. So all I have to do is pay 2 life into this. That was kind of best case scenario. Not gonna lie. We will take that one. I thought for a long time his right arm was his head and the artwork confused me. Oh, so you thought like this over here was his head? Yeah, it takes a while to notice. It's like its mouth is here and these are like jaws and it definitely isn't very intuitive artwork. Alright, opponent, what have you got? Something not too terrifying. If you had something terrifying, probably would have windmill slammed it already. They planning on just... Nope. Maelstrom Pulse. I'm assuming Maelstrom Pulse. Because I can't have a 3-mana permanent with Lurrus as a companion, so can't be Liliana. Yeah. Pulse plus a Hex Drinker. Alright. So the Hex Drinker is not killing me by itself. Which means if he wants to kill me, he's got to level up Hex Drinker plus Quagmire. But if he like leaves the Quagmire back, and I get to dismember it, I've got potential lethal. We'll see what he does. Second Hex Drinker is rough. Drown in the lock after we have our blue source fielded. Alright. Okay. Something like K command would be best draw here, I think. K command, fatal push, breeding pool. Well, any removal would have won if they didn't also draw removal. So let's see, removal spell, Plague Engineer, K command is great. Alright, so they're committing to the Hex Drinker. You were just a couple turns too late. Alright. Die to Hex Drinker. Yeah. That one felt kind of bad. But what kind of protection does this level 3 Hex Drinker get? Protection from instants. Becomes a 4/4 and gets protection from instants. So for a while there, he just couldn't level up the Hex Drinker because he couldn't level it up and hold up Hissing Quagmire. But as soon as the Scourge was gone and he could afford to take a hit without dying, then I think it's kind of free to just level up the Hex Drinker and go for the lethal next turn. So I think it was a good play there. Alright, what do we got for round 3? Something fun and interesting, hopefully. Or Dredge. No, we got Jad wanting to see some gameplay against Dredge. But while we wait, hope everybody is having a fantastic Thursday morning, evening, or afternoon, wherever you're at in the world. Always glad everybody's coming around to hang out. Is Dredge a good matchup? Dredge is a matchup that I think I've had, like, disproportionately positive success against. I don't think it's as good as, like, my results have been against it. So we need to add... and the rock. Alright, it's not the worst. Yeah, I don't think Dredge is a good matchup by any means. But, like, my win-loss record against Dredge has been really good. So, I've got to figure out why that is. Thoughtseize Mirror, eh? Does that mean I'm just going to pass not Thoughtseize here? I think I am. Like, I know they're going to get to Thoughtseize me, so I'm just going to hold up my Thoughtseize and, like, traverse. Ricardo, how's it going? So far, so good over here. Just rocking through some 4-color today. Alright, so now we know they've got Thoughtseize in hand still. This could be another rock deck, could be Jund. I don't know if there's a great reason for them to Inquisition over the known Thoughtseize right there. Another Goyf on top of our library. Okay. I think I'm down to just drop a Goyf here. Say go. If they want to, like, Thoughtseize us and take our Thoughtseize, it turns on Traverse. If they don't want to Thoughtseize and just want to, like, play a threat of their own, then we can Thoughtseize, turn on Traverse. Let's see, hey, JP here, changed my Twitch name. Snake Eyes MTG. What brought about that change? What's the reasoning? What's the story? Alright, so Dismember does grow the Tarmogoyf. See if opponent sniffs this out. Not particularly. Alright. So let's go... Actually, let's cycle Wraith first. Probably going to be taking a good bit of damage this turn, but... YOLO. So we can get basic Swamp and Thoughtseize. Confidant, Thoughtseize. Well, I'm not particularly fond of Dark Confidants, as we saw earlier. Alright. I was wondering for a second, I was like, the 4's not showing up anymore on the marked damage. I was a little afraid that they had, like, done away with that or something. Alright, I could just traverse, get a shadow, play it out. If I'm staring down just Thoughtseize at the moment, then this Dismember's, like, not safe in hand anyway. Or the Dismember or my second threat. So would I rather have the second threat? I feel like I'd rather get the Tarmogoyf off the board. Creating my own YouTube and Twitch channel and community. Nice. That's awesome. Are you gonna start streaming? You have to let us know when you do so we can all come follow. Yep. So something like, that's not bad. I was gonna say like Luris would be best draw there. Maybe they're planning on cracking this Peatland. I think cracking Peatland there would be like indicator that they didn't draw anything good last turn. This could be Bloodbraid. Alright. Or it could be Fetch Concede. That was the other option, clearly. Alright, so all cards I'm pretty interested in. Cards I am slightly less excited about. Somewhere like that. I'll be doing more paper modern streams, which I hope will be good. So when you say paper modern streams, do you mean like at a shop, or do you mean like streaming paper over like, what is it, Spell Table or something like that? Like give us the inside scoop, give us the breakdown. I can't promote it if I don't know about it. Webcam magic. Sounds pretty sweet. I would definitely be down to check it out. And that kind of goes for everybody in here. If y'all have like your own streams going on, let us know. We can support it over the channel. We can tell people about it. This is a community. What do I think about this? Probably fine, right? Over a webcam service. That'll be pretty awesome. So you're just gonna like have like friends and associates that you're challenging to games, or is it gonna be like paper tournaments done over webcam, or what's the premise here? I guess I would ask, like, what is the the reason behind the games. If that makes any sense whatsoever. Drawing a Liliana of the Veil. Okay. It's a slightly terrifying one. Been playing Grimflayer and Jund Shadow. It's been really good. I'm impressed. Fuels the grave for Goyf, Lavamancer, and Luris. Has Trample over Oriok. Can throw away discard late game. Turn on Scourge very well. It's good to have another threat when you need to cut Scourge like versus Heliod. Also, it's good versus Living End. It is good versus Living End. Yeah. God. Grimflayer is a card that I am a really, really big fan of. And have played a lot of times in the flex spots in like 4-color Shadow. Played it in 4-color or Jund Traverse. Like, I like that card a lot. Well, we're not running a Scourge directly into a Liliana. As much as our opponent would probably like us to. Are we taking Abrupt Decay? I think I am. I think I'm taking Abrupt Decay. I can't traverse for the land because I need to hold up Stub for Liliana. But I just think if I take Liliana and leave them with a removal spell that I can't deal with for Scourge, I'm not really clawing back into this game. But if I'm able to soft stub Liliana here, then I think I've got a little more reasonable chance. And you know these Jund players, they're obsessed with value. There's no way they're going to play off curve and not play into the soft stub Liliana here. So I can traverse for a fetch land. Which like isn't the greatest, but it's probably necessary. Depending on what our opponent does, we can get Watery Grave for Drown in the Loch, or we can get like Overgrown Tomb for Assassin's Trophy. Inquisition. So I believe that means we're getting Watery Grave for Drown in the Loch here. That way we can drown this, play Scourge, hold up Trophy next, or hold up Stub next turn, and have access to Trophy for Kroxa. Nobody Jund players value. It's funny but true. Need value. See, I'm also creating an Introduction to Magic YouTube series, doing tutorials for different things like deck archetypes and mini formats, understanding the stacks, tricks and tips playing the most popular archetypes. It'll be called The Training Grounds. That is an awesome name. And one of my favorite cards. I used to play it in my Commander Tasigur deck. You know what's better than activating Tasker a bunch? Activating Tasker a bunch for 2 less. I think it sounds like it's going to be a pretty awesome, awesome endeavor. Alright, Clothis isn't the end of the world. No. Bad Jund player. Bad Jund player. Get out of here. Shoot. Shoot. One of my projects that I want to work on, probably start sometime here, is I want to do a video series on like on optional cards for shadow variants, like when they're useful, when running them's nice, when not running them, tips and tricks with them, like tips and tricks of Thought Scour in Grixis, tips and tricks of Mishra's Bauble, Stubborn Denial, Lightning Bolt over Fatal Push, Scourge, whatever. I think it would be pretty fun. Kefnet evaluation, please. I mean, naturally, like, what's the best meta to run your Kefnet the Mindful in? It's always sitting right here giving me luck, Thomas. I hope you know that. Never outside of arm's length from a good Invocation Kefnet. Second Bloodbraid Elf. I was really hoping that was going to be a Kroxa. Mike's live. Alright, opponent, just attack me for 6. I say attack me for 6. Like, if they attack me at all, they die. So... So, how do I present Thomas coming in gifting a sub to Aaron? Aaron, welcome to the subscribers. Enjoy access to all of our sweet custom Death Shadow emotes. How do I get to lethal from where I'm at without being dead on board on the crackback? They don't have a Raging Ravine. So if I play fetch land, attack, and they don't block, they take 4, they play Kroxa on the crackback. The Clothis Drain doesn't change the clock. I ditch Overgrown Tomb, go to 6. They attack with both of their Blood Braids. I have to trophy one and like find a removal spell off the top. The problem with Represent Fetch Shock TBR is if I had Fetch Shock TBR, they'd be dead to it 100%. So, like, there's no reason to sit here and and ponder my line. My hope is that they block here in some regard. I don't know why they're double blocking. There's no reason whatsoever for them to double block here. Like, if I have Battle Rage, they're dead to it, regardless. And now if they whiff, they're just dead on board. So I don't agree with that block. Come on, get back Croxa. Why? Why you do this to me? So now I need another whiff out of them. Oh, we're actually short of lethal now. Alright. What do we got, deck? That is Savage deck. Pure savagery. Seasoned Pyromancer. So the plan was, if they had gotten back Croxa, we could have ditched the Overgrown Tomb, gone down to 1, untapped, swung in with a Lethal Shadow. But since they got to play a non-Croxa creature, then we couldn't lose the 3 life that we needed to lose. Opponent giving us an out. Removal spell off the top. There is God. There is God. I got you, homie. That's all it takes. Just peel it. Oh, man. What did I miss up here? Have my commander friends show me a deconstructed battle cruiser EDH deck and how to turn it into a modern deck. I have to see the look of disappointment in their eyes when I tell them their 7-mana win con will likely not be good playable in modern. Yeah. For everybody out there in TV land that needs to hear it, I hope you're listening in, Jabri. Approach of the Second Sun is not a good modern win condition. Hate to tell you. Should have trophied in phase if you drew Dismember. You're right. You were correct. I was thinking about a K command, and I was like, oh, well, my only K command's already in the yard, so I can't draw a 3-mana removal spell, but Dismember is correct. Should have trophied the Kroxa into turn. But then I know I wouldn't have drawn into the removal spell, right? Can I keep this without a fetch or black mana? Probably not. This hand's like really good if you have... If I hold up Stub on turn 1, they play something into it. I get to turn 2 Tarmogoyf and then draw a black source. I don't think I can keep it. Don't really like this one either. Alright. So what are we ditching? Scourge and... Scourge and Traverse. They'll never see turn 1 soft stub coming off of the Misty Rainforest Pass. It's too slow and no black is too yikes. I'm pretty inclined to agree. I think that if the hand had a fetch over like the basic forest, it would have been an easy keep. Thomas with all the hydrates. I gotta go get some more water after this game. Alright, so now comes the slow figuring out if they're mono red Prowess or blue red Prowess. Planning on soft stubbing like a Manamorphose here. Going the other way is hard too. You have to learn to hold back your threats, as if you overcommit, it's massively more painful. That is also very true. You almost always want to keep something back in the tank if you can. That was worst case scenario. I was really hoping for Manamorphose into Stormwing, not Gut Shot into Stormwing. So I think what I'm gonna do is give it one more draw step. Just see what I draw into. And if it's nothing good, like, I don't even know what it would need to be at this point. But like, what are the benefits of scooping and not letting them know what we're on? Probably just better, right? Because we could go Fetch Shock to 14, Cycle Wraith to 12, play a Shadow, play a Fetch land. And there's just like no way that that Shadow is living and we're living. So I think we're just going to go to game 2. Try to give them as small of an idea of what we're playing as we can. And we'll go Luris. This is like a fun little idea you can do against Burn and Prowess and decks like that, is where Street Wraith can be a liability. If you board out all of those, you can board Luris into your companion slot for free. Unless you're running like Plague Engineer and bringing it in. But it's just like Luris is kind of a card in these matchups that you pretty much always want access to. So throwing it in your companion slot is just like free-ish. So this is like perfect hand that I want to see against Prowess. I've got Hand Disruption into Tarmogoyf, which can just stand in the way of a lot of stuff on our opponent's side of the board. And then I've got Dismember to answer Stormwing Entity. Drown in the Lock can answer a lot of threats. So if I'm planning on playing Tarmogoyf next turn, it's going to be a 3/4 if I take an instant. So they could Lightning Bolt plus Lava Dart it. So I think I'm just going to take Lightning Bolt. They do get to Serum Visions here if they want to, but I feel like I've got the threats reasonably covered. So I'm not as concerned there. Kling's a pretty good draw. There's loads more board wipes in Commander. You are correct about that. Like, except for typically like high level competitive EDH doesn't really have a lot of board wipes. But that's also like kill everybody before board wipes even matter, right? Like, oh, you've got board full of creatures. Cool, you're dead on turn 3. Or you're pressured into having the right kind of interaction on turn 3. So they put Bolt on the stack. Cool. We respond by killing this. And now you've got a Bolt going at my Tarmogoyf. Then here we'll just take Light Up the Stage. Okay. And say go. So from here, like, third land is good. Second Tarmogoyf is fine. Scourge we've already got. When Cling to Dust came out, I said it was a good card, and my friends who play exclusively Commander looked at me like I was mad. I think Cling to Dust is fantastic. Like, it's gotten a significant downgrade since Mystic Sanctuary and Uro are no longer in the format, but the versatility off this card is fantastic. It's like, alright, I can interact with your Snapcaster targets. I can interact with, like, your Luris targets. I can gain life against Burn, Prowess, aggressive decks. I can draw a couple cards against the other mid-range decks when things are going long. That one's a little rough. You're right, it's not powerful enough in Commander typically, but it's one top, one bottom. Alright, opponent. If you got us dead, you got us dead. We know we're at 9, 4. It's like a bolt off the top kills us. Sprite Dragon, I'm pretty sure does it. Commanders. Got a bunch of different Commander reactions. Like, I think Commander's fun when it's like the high hyper competitive games. I'm not as big of a fan of it when it's like lower power level. It's like I don't like the casual Commander games. I feel like they just take too long and they're more dependent on like random lock pieces and things like that, and it's just not as exciting. But when it's like non-stop action from 4 players on the table, I think it's really fun. Alright, opponent mathing this out, and I'm assuming determining that it is in fact lethal, because it is. They Lava Dart for 2. We go to 9. This is a 5. Or are they 1 off? Did I miscount? Or no, I was thinking about Bolt earlier was lethal. Don't think Fatal Push changes anything. We could cling. It would be like we cling a non-creature spell, or no, we can't cling a gain life and cling a spell to draw for push or drown or something. So we'll see what they do. No, opponent, we're not going down that easily. I'm gonna make you use this combat step. As you sit here and burst lightning us on your own upkeep. The nerve of some opponents. A lot of strong decks, 4 people actually trying to win the game is fun. I agree completely on the politics sentiment. Like, I don't like politics game of Commander, and I don't like when it's a very targeted game. But, like, it's got to be people that understand concepts like board position, turn order, understand their role. Because, like, I want people that understand that if, let's say, I'm sitting here and the person to my left is trying to go off, that there's 2 people before me that need to understand, like, they can either not interact and, like, let me deal with it, which is a terrible idea, because then it's just like this self-serving political game where they're just saying, cool, if I lose, I lose, whatever, but I'm not going to interact because I'm going to protect my combo on my turn, and I'm just going to hope this person whiffs or whatever, and those games are terrible. So it's just, like, really nitpicky to find the right group of players. See, Jed hopped into a league with 4 Supplier and 3 Croxa and Jun Shadow, and it's kind of slapping. Well, if you got a list and you want to send it my way or drop a link in chat or something, I'd be happy to check it out. The old Tron, eh? Knew we couldn't dodge you forever. Don't think there's anything I'm really wanting to just have. Oh no, his mind short. See, how do you play against Tron every league? Well, I believe the official statement that Wizards of the Coast told me to tell everybody is variance, but I really question if that's a thing. I'm going to assume they drew a payoff in one of these 2 draw steps. Who's ready to see Wormcoil Engine blind off the top? Alright, well, stub that. That's pretty good. So we can go Overgrown Tomb, attack with Shadow, traverse for a second Shadow, hold up Stubborn Denial, and pray there's no Blast Zone. But if there is and it takes out our shadows, we do get to traverse for another shadow next turn. So that's something. Hugin, no, thank you. Yeah, Tron's a buy. What? Why is that even a meme on our stream? Oh, man. Where's Kevin when you need somebody in the background to just say fuck Tron over and over again? So, Brutality can hit, like Ancient Stirrings or Sylvan Scrying, something like that. Trophy and Sphere attack the mana base. K command can get back a threat after a blast zone, hit like a ensnaring bridge, hit a Oblivion Stone, something like that. Fatal Bush and Dismember just dead. Drown in the Lock can hit like an early Star, Sphere, Scrying, Stirring, Map, something like that. Alright, let's check out Jad's list. Jund, Shadow, Force Supplier, Force Scourge. I wonder if there's any way to fit like a couple copies of Unearth in here. Like, I don't know where, but between the 20th land or like 3rd Kroxa, 4th Supplier, 7th removal spell. Like, I just wonder if there's a spot for 1 or 2. This hand's pretty bad, right? Like, we've got Damping Sphere, but like literally nothing else going for it. This is much better. Usually when it comes to fetch lands, Bloodstained Mire is the one I want to see last because it doesn't get Breeding Pool. Like, Misty Rainforest doesn't get Blood Crypt, but getting blue in this deck is more important than getting red. So if I've got an option to throw back a fetch land and Bloodstained Mire is in the mix, that's probably the one that's getting the toss. 20 lands is a lot, but it is nice to have that 20th land with Kroxa in the deck. So I can understand wanting to stick around that level. Stubborn Denial off the top. One time, deck. Almost. Not gonna lie, deck, you had us in the first half. Maybe they kept a one-lander. So, like, the reason I can't play Tron is I never have Tron on turn 3. Like, 9 times out of 10, my opening hand, like, doesn't even have a Tron land. So I'm just sitting here like, oh my god, what am I doing? Like, how am I supposed to play this deck? Alright, here's a Damping Sphere. $19 is stock. I mean, I've seen plenty of 20 as well. Like, I don't think 20 is incorrect by any means. Tron, in my opinion, is one of the most boring decks to play. It's a combo deck in which the combo is just boring. I mean, I'm not disagreeing. So they did blind bring in Wilt. Which is probably correct. O-Stone with Karn, Ugin. So, playing out a Shadow pretty well doesn't do anything for me. Out of these, Ugin is the one that, like, I literally cannot beat. So I've got to take it. From here, like, K command can help deal with, like, ensnaring bridge or something like that. An additional Thoughtseize off the top might be able to deal with a second Planeswalker. We did. Probably. Probably. Guess technically shouldn't have shocked there in case they go and get a Walking Ballista this turn. I wouldn't have been dead, but I'm dead. Let's see. Playing Karn is kind of fun though. You're the reason that this is wrong. Kalino, it's the only combo deck that doesn't do anything cool and also doesn't automatically kill you. I mean, yes and no. Like, alright. So, Tron doesn't kill you on turn 3 if it assembles Tron, but also often puts itself into unlosable board states. Like, natural Tron into Wormcoil just wins against a huge chunk of modern decks. Natural Tron on the play into Karn, blow up your second land, just wins against a lot of decks. So, like, yeah, the game's not actually over, but the game's over. But I get what you mean completely. It's just like the combo deck that isn't a game-winning or game-ending combo. Tron just makes you suffer while killing you slowly. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. I want another bauble. Not really. That's good. Yeah, I'm hoping to just like soft stub something here so I can get this Traverse online. Now I can Thoughtseize and decide if I want to Traverse or not. So we're just taking the map because it's the guaranteed Tron land. Yeah. And Traverse for... Shadow's like not bad, but it's not great. Tarmogoyf gets Stubborn Denial out the soonest. But I've got to take a turn off. Killing slowly, you say. Heard of Jace the Mind Sculptor? I have. Have indeed. Alright. Opponent not finding a Tron land there is nice. Fetch land. Easy. Easy. Here's the shadow. No. Bad Tron opponent. Bad. Shoot. Get on out of here. Star, sure. Really saving this second Stubborn Denial for like a Karn the Great Creator, O-Stone, something like that. One more fetch land. Not a fetch land, but we'll take it. So, you know that's got a target. Stopping the redraw is not the worst thing in the world. So we've got Power Plant Unknown. Fetch land. Not a fetch land. We'll take it. That means a fetch or a shock is lethal next turn. Am I trophying a land? I'm trying to figure out if, like, the way I lose this game is them naturally drawing the third Tron land and having, like, a Worm Coil in hand. But I think what I'm going to do is trophy, like, the power plant in this case, end of turn. So that they just can't top deck natural Tron on me. So Scourge lets me play around Blast Zone off the top. I've already got O-Stone covered, but Blast Zone would give them a whole extra turn. Rag Daddy. So way to lower life. That does it. Tron's a buy. Alright. Let's check out Jad's list here. We might run it through a league. Looks kind of interesting.